I'm glad to see you here. Today I want to make a short overview of the 10th grade literature curriculum in a typical Russian school. If you're somehow interested in this, please watch this video. I will present to you 3 fundamental works of different Russian authors I've studied this year at my school, and for some reason those are all world-known books written in the 60s of the 19th century. The first one is Fathers and Children, created by a man who spoke 15 languages, the most educated of all Russian writers, and his name is Ivan Turgenev, and he's my favorite together with Leo Tolstoy. The novel Fathers and Children, as you may guess, is about the change of generations, and that's always been an important topic. Everything starts with that a student recently graduated from St. Petersburg University returns to his father's estate with a friend, and that friend is the major focus of the novel. His name is Eugeny Bazarov, and he's a nihilist. Nihilism was popular among young Russian people at the second half of the 19th century, and it was about the rejection of all moral and religious principles. It was a belief that all general and culturally accepted aspects of human life don't exist at all. So Bazarov is a scientist who rejects the existence of science. And you know what? My father once called me a nihilist, and he said that he had been one too in his adolescence. But in my mind I was like, I have my principles. I have so many principles. Well, actually the book is not about nihilism, and Turgenev never accepted that phenomenon, though he never judged it too. It is primarily about the eternity, greatness and beauty of life, and you'll understand that if you start reading the book and finish it. I think you'll find it fascinating to follow Bazarov's path and see where it leads to. The novel is not too long, just about 100 pages. It goes nicely and easily, and it is precisely what I highly recommend to all international readers who want to get acquainted with Russian literature and have no clue what to begin with. In the 10th and penultimate grade of high school, Russian students read, but the majority don't read, War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. It is considered virtually the greatest literary work in the entire history of Russia, and I can assure you it's quite fair. It is actually about 1200 pages. Yep, I read and totally liked this. It's a story, even history, of several large families that live in Russia in the first decades of the 19th century. That huge novel or epic poem or historical chronicle, call it whatever you want, it's a great psychological and philosophical journey. And if you read it, you get a chance to participate in the War of 1812, then see the burning of Moscow, and get to know Napoleon and other famous political and military leaders in person. The book contains so many meanings and raises so many problems that we simply don't have time to discuss them all right now. But if to put it very short, it is about the role of separate individuals and large masses of people in history, and also about the importance of family in one's life. There are a lot of main characters, and we live through the story with one of them at first, then with another, and so on. To me, this feature strongly resembles of Game of Thrones, and the structure is not the only thing that unites A Song of Ice and Fire with War and Peace. For instance, at the end of the second volume, before the events of 1812, there appears a comet in the sky, which is very symbolic and means many different things to different people. Also, Game of Thrones is completely about war and peace, murder and love, and it is a story, even history, of several large families. So if you're a great fan of Game of Thrones and you've read all the existing books, please check out War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy while George Martin is still working on the last parts of the series. I think you're going to like it because it is the same Game of Thrones, just the Russian version. It is based on reality. It is full of amazing philosophy, and yes, it is tremendously short in comparison to A Song of Ice and Fire. I finished War and Peace in 3 weeks, but this I've been able to tackle only 1 volume and a half so far, and it's already 1000 pages. By the way, now I'm hugely inspired to read War and Peace in English sometime. And I know there is a nice translation maybe 20 years later. War and Peace ends with a 40 pages philosophical treatise, which is not so compelling and accessible. I'm not even sure if someone pays enough attention to that, but honestly it was the most valuable part of the book for me. Tolstoy suggests an amazing idea that human life is a certain relation of free will to inevitability, and free will is our consciousness, and inevitability, that's the laws of reason. I assume that separate people are going to understand this differently, but I can explain what it means to me. Sometimes I get frightened that all my thoughts, feelings, emotions, and actions are pure physiology and neurobiology, that the flows of hormones within my body and the sequences of connections between neurons in my brain solely determine who I am. And books like this one really add up to that anxiety and claim that human mind and one's personality can be regarded just in terms of physics, biology, and chemistry. But then Tolstoy says no, there is surely some inevitability, laws of reason and science, but there's still free will because we're not able to prove somehow its absence, or in the contrary state that there are only unbreakable concepts and nothing more. The last book is Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky, and I'm still wondering how I should return this one to my school library on quarantine. As far as I know, Dostoevsky is especially well known abroad, and I often see English versions of Crime and Punishment in local bookstores. So it's a novel about a poor young man thrown out of university and living in the slums of St. Petersburg. That man, his name is Rodion, invents a theory according to which all people can be divided into those who form the elite and are able to make history, and those who constitute the ordinary masses are not so important and are needed just for the growth of the human population. That man believes that the members of the elite are even permitted to kill people if it's necessary for a great turn in history. Rodion decides to challenge himself, discover if he is one of those special human beings, and after days of contemplating deliberately kills an elder female pawnbroker and her friend who was just passing by. And then the character thinks a lot about what he did, his theory finally crashes, he publicly confesses and ends up in exile. The novel is really complicated, profound and complex. On top of that, it is not easy to perceive. So many professionals wonder why our curriculum exposes teenagers to such hard literature. Anyway, even if it's hard, we still need to complete all of our assignments related to crime and punishment. Can do nothing with it. Well, now I am done with this brief presentation. Tell me if you liked it. If you have already read something of this, please share your opinions. I'm really excited to discuss the books. And if you have read any Russian books, please tell me which exactly and whether or not you enjoyed reading them. I hope that you're passionate about literature as much as I am. I wish you all the best and see you in the next video.